In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why having a personal brand for your business is overrated 99% of the time. I'm also going to cover the 1% of the time where it actually is worth it. For those that are new here, I'm Davie Fogarty. I've done over $650 million in sales on Shopify, and I run one of the largest e-commerce mentorships in the world. Look, creator brands are the future, but should you drop everything and buy a selfie stick to launch your own personal brand? The funny thing about building a personal brand is that people don't have the correct goal in mind in the first place. They think they want to create business asset. Realistically, what they want to do is they want to validate their self-worth through comments. Look, there's no judgment. Like, reflecting on it, that's exactly who I was when I started. But the good news is, by coming into the space, like build a personal brand with the right objectives in mind, we can get insane results. The true value in building a personal brand for business owners is across three main pillars. The first is creating a negative customer acquisition cost business, so a negative CAC business. The second is replacing content costs and increasing content volume. And the third is employee and deal flow. Let's break down each one. So the first one is negative CAC businesses. Negative CAC businesses are the holy grail of businesses. They're a unicorn. It's basically where you're advertising your main channel, your main customer acquisition cost channel produces more revenue than it costs to create. So think about Mr. Beast, where his YouTube revenue from AdSense pays him like $1 million on a video, but he's still able to plug his chocolate in that video. That's negative customer acquisition cost. And also think about HubSpot. They recently bought The Hustle, a huge newsletter, allowing them to plug their products in there while maintaining all of the other sponsors that newsletter already had. But you see, the problem with this is it takes such a long time to achieve this at any reasonable scale. And it takes a big time commitment, like really big time commitment. Let's take YouTube long form, for example. A lot of people watch me and they think, hey, I'm going to go start a YouTube channel to sell my products with. In this example, let's also assume this person has a successful business already using Facebook ads. If you plan to post one long form video a week, it'll probably take you about 2 days of work. If your business is already making about $500,000 a year in profit, you should consider your hourly rate at about $200. Like if we break the 500K of profit and assign you an hourly rate, it's about $200 an hour. This means that one YouTube video will cost you over $3,200 of your time. So naturally, you're going to say, hey, I'll just hire someone else. Hiring other people isn't going to be much better. If you want to pay someone to handle the entire process, your cost will be something like the following. You've got about $500 to $1,500 for the script, $500 to $1,500 to actually edit the video, and you've got about $30 to $100 to actually edit each individual reel. Now, here's the problem. The chances of you hitting it big within the first couple of months is very, very low. It's like anything really valuable in life. It takes a lot of work, time, and consistency. It'll take you time to master storytelling and learn the format. You're probably going to be looking at 100 views to 1,000 views for at least the first 10 videos, which just won't make any money for you. This means you're about to burn at least $30,000 of time or capital on this project before getting any traction. It might take you 30 videos before you even get any traction, which I'm okay with. It's okay to invest a lot of time into something that'll be valuable eventually. But here's where my main issue comes in. In this example, your business might already be making $500,000 a year. And for all of those hours that you've spent on this channel could be spent on Facebook ad content, website SEO, product development, the core channels that have gotten you there in the first place. In short, in these early days, unparalleled focus, unwavering focus on these already successful paid channels compound incredibly fast. And building your own personal brand isn't going to. I'd estimate that 95% of my one-on-one calls, just welcoming people to Daily Mentor, once I learn about their business, I remind them that they need to stay focused on these channels at least until they're doing about over $10 million a year, even up to $50 million a year. So when's the exception here? Because I think there is a few. The first one is when someone already has huge amounts of experience in the social channel because they've already reduced the learning curve. So for example, if you already had grown a successful channel in the past, maybe it's in a different niche, I'd be like, yeah, just go do it again because you have all of those lessons. The second is when you have a really unique story or point of difference. So Daniel Dellen, he is living in China. He does sourcing and that kind of things. Brian Johnson, He is reversing his aging and he's made millions and millions of dollars. He's got a unique story. I didn't start doing social media until I'd done over $300 million in e-commerce sales. By having that unique story that I could actually tell, that authority, it fast-tracked my growth. And that brings me to my third point. When you're an authority in the subject matter and it aligns very well with your brand, this will really make sure that any content that you produce has high authority, so therefore it'll have a high conversion rate for your product. A good example of this is Andrew Huberman, or someone with a PhD. If you're incredibly knowledgeable and you're about to sell supplements and you've got a PhD, then chances are you should be the face of your brand. The final exception here is when you have already set up your business so that you can't add any more value to the business as usual things anymore. 100% optimized, you've got a team in place and they don't require your leadership, which is very rare. It takes a long time to get to that point. Now, if you don't fit into any of those buckets and you still want to ignore my advice, then my next point is the only acceptable path to building a personal brand. And the aim is to replace short form content costs and increase volume. You see, each month, the average brand spends a lot of cash on either actors for their UGC, influencers for their UGC, or a social media manager who's basically the face of the brand creating content daily. They then take this content and they spend 5 times that advertising the content, getting huge amounts of reach. One big leverage point for all brands is to make this content more efficient, or they increase the volume of this content. But unfortunately, the managing of this talent can prevent both of these things because it just takes ages to coordinate the UGC, coordinate the actors and all of the editors. And considering it's such a big leverage point for each business, I've seen it work out where the founder carves out the time to start producing this content themselves. The first objective that they should have is creating high converting Facebook ads. The better it converts, the more impressions it will get through the paid advertising. Then the personal brand will begin to build as a byproduct with no additional hard cost to the brand. But here's one massive disclaimer. You are still taking your eyes off the ball. You're still taking away from those existing channels that are making you so great. Because I really do want to warn you, it's a huge time commitment. So that brings me to my final point of why you should possibly build a personal brand. When I'm teaching established brands how to hire a talent, almost all the time, I make them reach out to similar e-com brands that are 1 to 3 years ahead of them in terms of revenue, size, age, and try to poach their staff. Recruiting is one of the hardest parts about growing your business. If you get it wrong in your early years with one key hire, you can lose an entire year of growth, or even worse, you could just go out of business. For most people, it sounds harsh to poach. But honestly, 90% of the people that you're messaging won't reply because they're happy where they are. The other 10% will reply because they're being mistreated and are going to leave anyway. It's got to happen eventually. You're just getting ahead of it and creating a great opportunity for the person. Just one thing here as well, A-grade employees aren't looking for a job. I'll do anything for my A-grade employees. We look after them completely. So why would they be applying to job posts? Now, having a personal brand has been incredible to bring top talent into my businesses. It'll drastically increase your apply rate when reaching out onto LinkedIn. Now, here's the kicker that might make you just rethink about building a personal brand to get this reply rate, because you might not even need it if your product and brand is already cool. With the Oodie, everyone had the product already. Everyone knew that it was growing really quickly, even without my face behind it. So people were wanting to work at the company. If your website is ugly and it doesn't stand for anything, the brand doesn't stand for anything, that's actually where I'd start to get this benefit of replying, not starting a personal YouTube channel. The website needs to be fixed anyway, so just start there. And the other thing you need to consider is that you don't need 100,000 followers to get the benefit of this. Chances are you just having 10,000 followers due to some really beautiful bits of content is gonna be enough to get some benefit of reply rate. Just make sure your feeds are beautiful and clean and you're trying to inspire people when they go onto it so that they respond. Now, the really cool part here is that this doesn't just work for recruiting. Suddenly, all your cold outreach will get better. If you need help with a new marketing channel from a $100 million founder like me, if you want to buy a cool brand that you really admire, you want to get deal flow as well, suddenly everyone just replies. So there definitely is some benefit. To summarize this video, if you've already got a successful business, really consider hard whether you should be taking your eye off the ball. Now, if you don't have a successful business and you're just getting started as a beginner, then chances are building an audience first in a channel is a great way to get started and get initial traction. If you're doing over 7 figures, don't forget to click on the link. I'll leave an offer as well in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.